let's talk about some basic swing articulations. And there's 4 of them. And it depends on where the note is at within a measure or a phrase, or what type of articulation marking is there, all right? So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna break down each of these, all right? If we have a tenuto marking, we're gonna think do. If we break down do, that starts with a consonant D. I'm gonna use D syllable to start everything, just because D is a nice it's a softer articulation than T. So if we're playing swing, I'm always thinking D, unless it's very specifically marked otherwise. We're starting with D, and I'm gonna think lowercase d because I wanna get to this backside of the note. If I'm thinking do, I wanna get to the oo of do, because that's where our tone and our pitch are, okay? The articulation is just an interruption of our airflow. So I'm thinking lowercase d there, and I'm thinking capital O-O. So over a tenuto marking, or the first note in a phrase that's on beat 1 or beat 3, or if we're playing 8th notes, if it's on the beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, or beat 4 over 8th notes, I'm thinking do. Next, we have our accent. I'm thinking da there. That typically happens, if we're playing quarter notes, that happens in beat 2 and 4, kind of like a walking bass line. If we're playing 8th notes, that happens for me off the beat. So if I'm playing or thinking quarter notes, do, da, do, da, do, da, do, da. I'm playing 8th notes, do, da, do, da, do, da, do, da, do, da, do, da, do, okay? What I hear a lot of times is whenever you see that accent, we tend to over-accent that if it's within a phrase. Now, just thinking about the shape that your mouth makes when you say ooh versus ah, that's gonna be enough to kind of create a little bit of a difference in your tone, okay? So if I play that, I'm not over accenting anything. I'm just thinking do da do da. If I play 8th notes, I'm not actively thinking about going do da do da do da do. Of course, there's points in time in big band music where you got to do that. There's some bassy charts where you really have to hammer the offbeats like that, okay? Again, those are specifically marked, and if you're listening, you'll be able to pick up on, if you're listening to the recordings, you'll be able to pick up on that stuff pretty easily, hopefully. So we've got do, and now we've got da. Now let's talk about the housetop accent. Same as da, but we're gonna put a lowercase t at the end. We're gonna go dot, not dot or anything, just dot. So a lot of times this is gonna happen at the end of a phrase, even if it's not marked with a housetop accent. Usually if it's a note that has if we're playing swing, if it's a note that has a rest at the end of it, I'm gonna think dot, okay? If we're playing 4 8th notes, do da do da, and there's a rest after it, I love to put that dot right there. So I'm going do da do dot. Okay, and not too much. It's just that T's gonna cut off the air just enough that I release, and hopefully, like if you're playing in a big band, you're releasing all at the same time. Finally, we have the staccato note, and I'm gonna think dit with that, okay? Now again, on the backside of the note with these vowels, I've been saying ooh and ah. Those are pretty long vowel syllables. That allows us to get the tone out of the note. Now, if I think dit, because staccato typically is, we think short and separate whenever we think staccato. Sometimes we think too much about short and not enough about separate there. What happens is if we say dit, the I vowel it's a shorter vowel to say than ah. So if you say I, ah just takes a little bit longer to get out. So we want that shortness, but if we're still given a vowel syllable, we're still getting some tone, and we're focused on cutting the note off because we have a T at the end. So dit, 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 okay? So here's dit versus dot. I'll do 4 staccatos, so 4 dits against 4 housetops, dots. Okay, so just like we're talking like microseconds of difference, but those microseconds of difference can mean so much when you're playing in an ensemble. It can separate the most swinging bands from just okay or good bands. Those types of details are really important. So if you go through your music, whatever you're playing, whether it's with a small group or a big band, go through and kind of look at the shape of these melodies and look where you have articulations, and where you don't have articulations, you can apply this type of stuff. The dots at the end of a phrase, or where to say do da do da do. Not everything's going to have tenuto markings and accent markings. We're just going to have phrases. So if you play with these rhythms and learn to verbalize what you play and what you sing, it's going to help you swing a little bit more. It's going to make you sound more in the style, and hopefully the people that you're playing with are doing the same thing, and it's going to make you all sound much more uniform and more of a collective group.